So let us begin with the chemistry class. 12th of August 2021. It is a Thursday and it is an afternoon. Okay. The seventh period supposed to be from 1:10 p.m. to 1:50 p.m. Okay. So in my morning class, I was talking about the classification of elements with regard to their characteristics. With regard to the characteristics. Now, I had explained the characteristics till the transition elements or the D block elements, if I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong. Okay, so now in this afternoon class, I will continue. I will continue with the characteristics of the inner transition elements. Now, which are also called the F block elements. It's also called the F block elements. So, what are inner transition elements? What are F block elements? Let us discuss. So, here I am going to write down the elements colored the elements in which the differentiating in which the differentiating differentiating electrons enter into n minus 2 f subshell okay are called are called are called inner transition elements are called inner transition elements. So if the value of the principal quantum number is say 5, not 5, let's take 7. If the value of principal quantum number is 7, then the f orbital into which the differentiating electron will enter will be 7 minus 2, that is 5f subshell. So differentiating electrons entering the f subshell is for the inner transition elements, and those elements belong to the F block of the periodic table. Okay. Now, I have told you in one of my previous classes, these elements, the inner transition elements, they have a general electronic configuration. They possess the electronic configuration of the type. I'm going to write that again: n minus 2 F 1 to 14 electrons, then n minus 1 D subshell 0 to 1 electron, and ns s subshell is completely filled with 2 electrons, but the D subshell can have 0 or 1 electron, and the F subshell can have electrons between 1 to 14 depending upon which series it is, whether it is lanthanide series or the actinoid series. Okay. Now, moving further under these inner transition elements, the F block elements, they are also divided, or they consist of two series. The lanthanide series and actinide series. These are the two series of elements for the inner, what you call, transition elements. Okay, the D block elements are called transition elements, but just below the D block, if the orbitals are getting filled up, which is the F subshell, then that's why it is called inner transition elements. Inner. So the word inner is meant for F block elements only. Please keep that in mind. Okay, that's the reason why what I've told you with regard to inner transition elements. Now let us discuss the first series, which is called lanthanoid series. Lanthanoid, N-O-I-D, lanthanoid series. Now this lanthanoid series are also called lanthanoids. Lanthanoids, N-O-I-D-S, also called lanthanoids. So lanthanide series is also called lanthanoids. Now this series, remember, this series consists of How many elements? 14. It consists of 14 elements. It consists of 14 elements. Important note. Okay, starting from cerium, cerium, whose atomic number is say 58. Okay, and it goes ahead up to lutetium, whose atomic number is say 71. Okay, 71. Okay, then followed by lanthanum. After that there is lanthanum. Second last one over lanthanum. Atomic number is 57. After lanthanum, in the what do you call in the main block of the periodic table, after lanthanum we have the other elements from here. 57, then 58, and then it goes on up to lutetium. Okay, lutetium. Okay, so this lanthanum is in the main block of the periodic table. So after that, separately in the periodic table, there are two series like this: 14 elements, another 14 elements. So these, from here, if you start, it will start with cerium. Okay, then it goes on till 71 atomic number. So these are the lanthanoid series containing 14 elements. Okay, now here with regard to physical and chemical properties, they resemble their position strongly in the periodic table. That is the reason also why they are called lanthanoids. Now the other name is, these elements are also known as rare earth elements. The lanthanoids are also known as rare earth elements. They are also known as rare earth elements. So remember this also. They are also known as rare earth elements. And the general electronic configuration, the general electronic configuration of these lanthanoids, it is 4f. Remember, it is 4. This is 4 is n minus 2. That means n value is 6. So 4f, 1 to 14 electrons, d, that is 5d, n minus 1, 0 to 1 electron, and then we have 6s2. So this is the general electronic configuration of the lanthanoids, which you have to remember. Okay, which you have to remember at any cost. Remember this at any cost. Okay. Now, I hope this much is clear to you. Lanthanoid series or lanthanoids, they are a series of elements out of the modern periodic table. They are just placed below the modern periodic table. Okay, two series like this, containing 14 elements starting from selenium, cerium to lutetium. And this what you call Ce, that is cerium, starts after lanthanum, whose atomic number is 57. Okay, now let us come down to the second one. This was number one. Coming to the second one, which is called actinoid series. Actinoid series. Actinoid series are also called simply actinoids. Actinoids, NOIDS. This is the second series of the inner transition elements of the F block. Now, in the actinoids, these elements they follow actinium AC. They follow actinium AC, atomic number 99. Okay, and then this also contains total of 14 elements. 14 elements starting from TH, that is thorium, atomic number 90, and ending into LR, that is lawrencium, atomic number 103. And moreover, the general electronic configuration becomes over here for this actinoids. General electronic configuration straight away I am giving over here. That time it was 4f, now it is 5f, 1 to 14, and then it becomes 6d, 0 to 1 electron, and then 7s2. Okay, so this is the general electronic configuration of the actinoids, which you must learn, which you must remember. So lanthanoids, remember it is 4f, starting with 4f, lanthanoids. And actinoids, remember it is starting with 5f, that is actinoids. This is very important to remember. Okay, so now after knowing the actinoid series and before this the lanthanoids, we come to the most important part under this heading, which is called general, which is called general characteristics. General characteristics of inner inner transition elements. General characteristics of inner transition elements which are important to go through and remember. The first one is like this: all inner transition elements are metals. So all are metals. All are metals. So if it is a metal, then they will have high density. They will have definitely high density. If the density is high, then the boiling point is also high. Boiling point will also be high. Okay. High melting point will also be high. So melting point also high. So the inner transition elements, all of them are metals. All are metals, having high density, high boiling point, high melting point. After this, the second characteristics, these inner transition elements, they also show variable valency. They show variable valency and exist in several oxidation states. They show variable valency, thus they exhibit several oxidation states. Several oxidation states. Okay. This is the second general characteristics of inner transition elements or the F block elements. Then moving to the next characteristics, the ions, basically the ions of these elements are, the ions are colored. The ions are colored and as well as paramagnetic. Paramagnetic means they are affected by magnetic fields. Now this paramagnetic is because of the presence of unpaired electron. If there is unpaired electron in any of the orbitals, maybe the f orbital or the d orbital, then that compound of the inner transition element is going to behave in a paramagnetic manner. That means it will be affected by magnetic fields, either attracted or deflected. Okay. Then next point number D, general characteristics. Most important one over here. This is most important. Radioactive. They are what? They are radioactive in nature. They are radioactive in nature. This you have to understand and remember. And also similar one, a similar property with regard to transition. They also form complex compounds. The inner transition elements also form complex compounds. They also form complex compounds. So these are some of the general characteristics of inner transition elements which I've explained you just now. Okay, so please read through this carefully, either from here or from the, if you have got a textbook, you can read it from there or from for the exam point of view. Okay, so after knowing these things today, the general characteristics of S block element, the general characteristics of P block element you have seen today. Okay, the S block element, noble gases, we have learned about the S and P block elements. We have learned the general characteristics of S block elements. We also came through the general characteristics of P block elements. Then we learned about the transition elements, the D block elements. We went through the general characteristics of transition element, that is the D block elements. And now in the afternoon class, I've explained you very nicely the inner transition elements. Okay. The first series, the lanthanoids and the actinoids. The lanthanide series and actinide series, it's explained. Okay, containing 14 elements each. Now let us move to the next part of the chapter, my dear boys. Okay, now if you look at the next slide on your screen, this is with regard to the groups and periods which you find in the long form of the periodic table. some important characteristics I have summarized, try to summarize and type it on for you over there. Okay, making things shorter. Okay, now I'm going to read them quickly. The elements of a group. The elements of a group show similar properties, but there is a gradual variation in the physical properties of the elements in a group. Okay, the properties are similar. What properties? The chemical properties are similar. Okay, but the physical properties, there is a variation if you move from top to bottom in a group. That is natural. Atomic size, from top to bottom in a group, the size of the atom increases. Why? Because a completely new shell is added to the atom. The valence electron down the group, it remains the same, no change. Valency, all elements in the group, generally they have the same valency. Number A, valency of metal 1 to 3A, number of valence electron. Valency of non-metal 4A to 7A is 8 minus number of valence electron. Metallic character from top to bottom, it increases. Okay. Now with regard to electropositivity and reactivity of metals. Electropositivity is the tendency of an atom to lose its valence electrons and thereby gain positive charge. So that is thing you have to remember. What is electropositive? It is a tendency. It is a tendency of an atom to lose its valence electron and gain positive charge. But if you talk about electronegativity, it is the tendency of an atom of an element to attract or accept electrons in its valence shell. And after accepting electrons, they acquire a negative charge. So the electropositivity on moving down the group, it increases. So the valence electrons are far from the nucleus and the force of attraction between the protons in the nucleus and valence electron decreases if you move from top to bottom. Hence, the elements down the group can easily lose their valence electrons to form positive ions. That is, electropositivity and reactivity increases. So, if electropositivity is increasing, the reactivity is also increasing. Remember that. Now, at the same time, point number 6 over here to remember, electronegativity and reactivity of nonmetals. So, whenever I talk about electronegativity, then I am talking about nonmetals. Keep that in mind. Electronegativity is the tendency of an atom to gain electrons and thereby acquire a negative charge. On moving down the group for non-metals, the atomic size increases. That is true. So the force of attraction between the protons in the nucleus and electrons being gained increases. So force of attraction becomes more. It becomes more in the case of non-metals. Hence, the elements down the group have difficulty to gain electrons. So the ones at the bottom, they have a difficulty to gain electrons to form negative ion. That is, the electronegativity and reactivity decreases down the group. So that down the group, what is happening? Electronegativity is decreasing. And if it is decreasing, definitely the reactivity will also decrease. Okay. Now, let's have a look the next slide now. The characteristics of periods. I have summarized the characteristics of groups and periods very short. Whatever is required, only that I have put over here. So that makes this PowerPoint presentation and the video very, very important. Okay, so please make a note of that. Now, with regard to the periods, periods are horizontal, horizontal this way, no? Now, each period starts with group 1A and ends in the group 8A or 18 or 0. Atomic size, why? The atomic size decreases from left to right in a period. Why? Tell me. On moving from left to right in a,
Nuclear charge increases.
because the effective nuclear charge increases. Very good. Very good. Was that Kapil? Was that Kapil?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So on moving from left to right across the period, the atomic size decreases, which you can call it as ionic size, ionic radii as well. Okay, so atomic size decreases from left to right. The reason we know already, because the effective nuclear charge increases. Along a period with increase in atomic number, the number of protons and electrons increases. We know that. So there is an increased force of attraction between towards the nucleus. Hence the atomic size shrinks and decreases just because the effective nuclear charge is increasing because of the increase in the number of protons. Then with regard to valence electron, the number of valence electrons increases from 1 to 8 along the period. So that means if you're moving from year to year like this, number of valence electron increases. Okay. In first period, the increase is from 1 to 2 only. Okay. Now, valency along a period from left to right, valency first increases from 1 up to 4, and then it decreases up to 0. So you can see over here, valency 1, 2, 3, valency 4, then 8 minus 5, 8 minus 6, 8 minus 7, 8 minus 8. So that's why it is 0, it is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, 4, plus 3, plus 2, and plus 1. This electropositivity, electronegativity. Okay. Now, further, some more points to be discussed under the characteristics of periods over here. Number 4, electropositivity and reactivity of metals. In the period I'm talking about. From left to right in a period, the atomic size decreases due to the increase in the nuclear force of attraction. So, it is difficult to lose valence electrons. Hence, electropositivity and reactivity of metal decreases along the period. That is an important point. Electropositivity decreases and the metallic character also decreases. That is what they are trying to say. Then number 5, electronegativity and reactivity of non-metals. Non-metals in the period. From left to right, the atomic size decreases due to the presence of nuclear force of attraction. So, it is easy to gain electrons for a non-metal which is smaller in size and having a high nuclear charge. Hence, electronegativity and reactivity of non-metals increases along the period. Now, we know electronic configuration means distribution of electrons in different shells and subshells. So, with regard to this, let's look at the next slide. Classification now. This is an important slide for all of us. Even for me, it is very, very important. This is something which I have talked briefly here and there, but let's go in detail. The S block elements, I have told you already. The block of alkali metals, okay, lithium to francium, and alkaline earth metals, that is group 2A from beryllium to radium, which are present at the left hand side of the periodic table. These elements have the last electron in S subshell. That is why they are referred to as S block elements. Okay, S block elements. Okay. Next is P block elements. The block of metals, P block contains metals, non-metals, metalloids, as well as inert gases. So many, so many representative or normal elements, so many which are present in group 3A 13 to 18, okay, are called P block elements. One example is given. These elements are present at the right hand side of the modern periodic table. These elements you'll find that they have the last electron entering the P subshell. Okay. Now elements belonging to S block and P block are generally known as normal elements or representative elements because they represent their characteristics truly to their position or to their location in the modern periodic table. Okay. So these are all P block elements. Then coming down to D block elements, the block of transition metals which is present in middle part of the modern periodic table in the center, in the center, this is 1 and this is 2, and in the center you have a block over here in the periodic table. Okay, after that there is 13, then there is 14, then there is 15. So this block I'm talking about, this is D block. Okay, in the middle part of the periodic table, including elements from 1b to 8b, that is group 3 to 12 according to the latest nomenclature system according to IUPAC. These elements have last electron in D subshell. They have the last electron in D subshell. Their properties are midway between those of S block and P block, so they are called transition elements. So it is a transition. It is a transition from S block to P block. Okay, so that is important to remember. Then coming to the next block is F block elements number 4. The block of lanthanides and actinides present below the main periodic table, outside the main periodic table, the last electron of the valence shell of these elements enters F subshell. The last electron means last electron of the valence shell. That means the differentiating electron. We are talking about the differentiating electron. We are talking about the differentiating electron, that is the last electron entering. Okay. Now, so this was some classification with regard to the different blocks over here. Have a look at the next slide over here. Main tips. The period, how to get the period, number of valence shells used, depending on the principal quantum number. Groups, total number of valence electron. Okay, and the valence you already know. Metals, elements of group 1, 2, 13. Non-metals, elements of group 4, 5, 15, 16, 17, 18. And noble gas, we already know it is 80, 0 or 80. So this is simply summarization of what we have been seeing till now. Okay. Now look at the next slide. Can you see the next screen? All of you, can you see? Can you see the next screen? Do you see the heading on the next screen? Tell me. Tell me. Yeah. Look at the first column. Look at the first column. Now I am giving you 2 minutes only to go through the first column and the second column. The first column contains atomic number, and the second column contains the name of that element with that particular corresponding atomic number. And the third column contains the symbol of that element whose name is given there in the second column. So I'm giving you 2 minutes, go through it, then I'll come back to you. Okay, I'm waiting. Just by looking at the chart, this column 1 and column 2, if you see very carefully over there, 101, 101, 1 means UN, UN, 0 means nil, 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 nil. Again there is 1, again UN, on. Then at the end, IUM. See, how many parts? Un, nil, un, 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 nium. That is how you name the element whose atomic number is 101. And what is the symbol? U, N, U. U, N, U. So now I'm going to teach you how to name according to IUPAC the elements with atomic number above 100 up to 120. Up to 120. Okay. The rest is not so important, but I just put it over here for the sake of just looking at it only, not for the sake of remembering it. Okay. So look at 102. Element whose atomic number is 102. So its name becomes un, nil, and it is 2. So bi, bi, um, anilbium, unb, anilbium, umb. Okay. Similarly, 103. 1 means un, 0 means nil, 3 means triumph, triumph, unt, unt. In this way, if you look at all the elements, 104, un, nil, quadium, 4 is quad, unq. 105, un, nil, pentium, unp. 106, atomic number, un, nil, hexium, unh. Then 107, un, nil, septium, uns. 108, un, nil, octium, uno. 109, un, nil, ennium. Un, nil, en. 9 is enn. NEM, UNE. 110, un, because 2 times 1, no, 110. Nilium, UUN. It goes on 111, UUU, 112, UUB, 113, UUT, 114, UUQ, 114 is unquadium, 115, pentium, 116, hexium, 117, septium, 118, octium, 119, enanium, and 120, 2 is bi, then 0 is nilium, nilium. So till here, nomenclature you should be able to write down in the examination. For reference, the IUPAC names have been given. Atomic number whose atomic number 101. Its name is Mendelevium, Nobelium, Lawrencium, Rutherfordium, Dubnium, Seaborgium, Bohrium, Hafnium, Metronium, Darmstadtium, Roentgenium, and Copernicum. Okay, so these are the names. You can call it as, these are not exactly IUPAC names. The IUPAC name is this one, IUPAC name, and these are the common names. These are the common names. Okay, so I request you all to practice this. We'll have a practice in the next class also with regard to this. It is already 1:50. It's already time up. So I would like to just end my class here only for today. Tomorrow I will give you some practice in the class only. Tomorrow's class, how to write the IUPAC name and their symbols for elements with atomic numbers above 100 up to 120. Okay, so just hang on over there only, because I need to record your attendance also. Then you can leave the class. Okay. Okay. Now there are 45 boys in the class attending the class. I am downloading the attendance. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, boys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Attendance
sir.
recorded. So now you may leave the class. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.